You've been doing everything right. You've been eating less, moving more, trying every diet that shows up in your feed. And yet the scale hasn't moved. Or maybe it moved a little, and then it came right back, like your body was punishing you for even trying. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a thought has started growing that maybe this is just how you're built. Maybe this is just your body. Maybe some people are just not meant to be lean, healthy, and strong. I need you to stop right there, because that thought is not the truth. That thought is the result of being given the wrong information over and over again by an industry that profits from keeping you confused. Let's start at the very foundation, because without understanding this first piece, nothing else works as well as it should. Intermittent fasting. Now, before you click away thinking you've heard this before, I want you to understand something. Most people who try intermittent fasting fail, not because it doesn't work, but because nobody ever explained to them what is actually happening inside their body during a fast. And that understanding is what makes all the difference between giving up and pushing through. Intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is a timing strategy. You are not changing what you eat as your first step. You are changing when you eat. And that distinction matters enormously. The most practical approach for beginners is the 16-8 method. You eat within an 8-hour window, say from noon to 8 in the evening, and you fast for the remaining 16 hours. That sounds intimidating until you realize that 8 of those fasting hours are while you're asleep. You're already doing half of it without even thinking about it. Here is what happens inside your body during those fasting hours, and this is the part that most people never hear. When you eat, your body releases insulin, a hormone whose primary job is to shuttle sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. But insulin has a second job that nobody talks about. It locks your fat stores shut. When insulin is elevated, your body physically cannot access your stored body fat as fuel. It is biochemically blocked. Think of your fat stores like a bank vault. Insulin is the lock on that vault. As long as insulin is high, the vault stays closed. Every time you eat, even a small snack, you trigger an insulin release, the vault locks again, and the clock resets. But when you fast, insulin drops. After about 12 to 14 hours of fasting, insulin falls low enough that your body finally opens that vault and begins burning stored fat for fuel. That is the metabolic state you are chasing. That is why the timing matters. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that intermittent fasting triggers significant improvements in insulin sensitivity, cellular repair, and fat metabolism. Studies consistently show that people following a 16-8 protocol lose more body fat compared to those eating the same number of calories spread throughout the day, precisely because of this hormonal effect. Now, how do you start without feeling absolutely miserable? Begin with a 12-hour fast and extend it by 30 minutes every few days. During your fasting window, you can drink black coffee, plain green tea, and water, all of which actually support fat burning. The common mistakes that kill results: breaking the fast with sugary foods, drinking flavored coffee creamers during the fast, eating massive portions within the eating window, or snacking constantly during those 8 hours, which keeps insulin elevated anyway. Push your first meal to late morning. Eat real whole food. Close the kitchen by 8. That is where you start. Now let me tell you about something that works beautifully alongside intermittent fasting, and it costs almost nothing. Apple cider vinegar. I know what you're thinking. That sounds like something your grandmother used for everything from cleaning windows to curing a cold, but the science behind apple cider vinegar for weight loss is genuinely impressive when you understand what it's actually doing inside your body. The active compound in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. And acetic acid does 3 very specific and very powerful things for fat loss. First, it improves insulin sensitivity. When your cells respond better to insulin, your body needs to release less of it after meals. And remember what we just talked about. Less insulin means the vault stays open longer. Less fat storage, more fat burning. Second, acetic acid directly suppresses appetite. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that participants who consumed apple cider vinegar with a meal felt significantly fuller and consumed an average of 275 fewer calories for the rest of the day, almost 300 calories from 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Third, it slows the rate at which food empties from your stomach, which keeps blood sugar levels more stable after meals, which means fewer energy crashes and fewer cravings. Here is exactly how to take it. 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Look for the kind with the cloudy sediment at the bottom that's called the mother, and it contains the beneficial compounds, diluted in a full glass of water. Take it 15 to 20 minutes before your largest meal of the day. You can add a squeeze of lemon and a small amount of raw honey if the taste is too sharp. What you must never do is drink it straight. Undiluted apple cider vinegar is acidic enough to damage your tooth enamel and irritate your esophagus. Always dilute it. Always. And if you are on medication for diabetes or blood pressure, speak to your doctor before starting, because it does have a measurable effect on blood sugar and blood pressure that can interact with medication. Now, I want to talk about something that is single-handedly sabotaging the health of more people than any other dietary factor on the planet: sugar. And I don't just mean the white granulated sugar you can see. I mean the hidden sugar that food manufacturers have buried in products that you would never expect, products that are being sold to you as healthy. This is the part of the conversation I feel most strongly about, so stay with me. When you eat sugar, your pancreas releases a surge of insulin to deal with the sudden rise in blood glucose. That insulin spike drives the sugar into your cells for energy. But when you eat more sugar than your cells can use, insulin converts the excess directly into fat and stores it primarily around your abdomen. That is why belly fat and high sugar intake are so deeply connected. But here is the cruel part. The insulin spike is followed by a rapid drop in blood sugar, and that drop triggers intense cravings for more sugar. Your brain reads low blood sugar as an emergency and demands a fast fuel source. Sugar is the fastest. So you reach for something sweet again. The cycle repeats. This is not a willpower problem. This is a hormonal loop that sugar creates deliberately within your biology. The hidden sugars you need to watch for: flavored yogurts, granola bars, bottled sauces, ketchup, store-bought smoothies, fruit juices, flavored oatmeal, bread, and almost anything labeled low fat, because when manufacturers remove fat, they replace it with sugar to maintain flavor. Read every label. The ingredient you're looking for is listed under many names: high fructose corn syrup, maltose, dextrose, cane juice, rice syrup. If it ends in ose, it is sugar. As for oily foods, the distinction that matters is the type of fat. Deep-fried foods, commercially processed vegetable oils like canola and soybean oil, chips, pastries, and anything cooked in hydrogenated oil, these must go. They drive inflammation, damage your metabolism, and contribute to fat storage in ways that go beyond just the calories they contain. Healthy fats: avocado, olive oil, fatty fish, eggs, raw. Nuts: these are essential. They support hormone production, keep you full, and actually help your body burn fat more efficiently. Fat is not the enemy. The wrong kind of fat is. Break the sugar cycle by removing obvious sources first: cold drinks, packaged snacks, desserts. Replace them with whole fruit when the craving hits. The fiber in whole fruit slows sugar absorption and prevents the spike. Within 2 weeks of significantly reducing sugar, most patients tell me their cravings have dropped dramatically. The loop can be broken, but you have to start. Speaking of cold drinks, and this brings me to one of the most overlooked fat loss mistakes I see every single week in my practice. Let's talk about what you are drinking. Because for many people, what they are drinking is the single biggest obstacle standing between them and meaningful fat loss, and they have no idea. A standard can of soda contains approximately 39 grams of sugar. That is nearly 10 teaspoons of pure sugar in one drink. A medium fast food iced coffee with flavoring can contain 60 to 70 grams. A bottle of packaged fruit juice, often marketed with images of fresh fruit and health claims, can contain as much sugar as a can of cola, sometimes more, with virtually no fiber to slow its absorption. These are liquid calories. And here is why liquid calories are especially dangerous for fat loss. Your brain does not register them the same way it registers calories from solid food. You can drink 500 calories and feel just as hungry an hour later as if you had eaten nothing. Your satiety hormones, the ones that tell your brain you've had enough, barely respond to liquid calories. So you consume enormous amounts of sugar and calories without ever triggering the fullness signal. That would stop you from consuming more. And fast food, beyond the calorie density, is engineered in a laboratory specifically to override your body's natural stop signals. The combination of salt, sugar, refined carbohydrates, and low-quality processed fat in fast food hits your brain's reward system in a way that whole food simply cannot replicate. It is designed to make you eat past the point of fullness. It is designed to make you come back. Understanding that this is by design, not a failure of your self-control, is genuinely liberating. Replace soda with sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or cucumber slices. Replace packaged juice with actual whole fruit. Replace fast food meals with simple home-cooked alternatives 3 times a week first, then 5, then make it your default. Your taste buds will adapt faster than you think. Within 3 to 4 weeks, fast food will start tasting exactly like what it is. Heavily processed, artificial, and unsatisfying compared to real food. Now let me tell you about the most powerful and most underutilized fat loss allies in existence, and they grow out of the ground. Green leafy vegetables and other nutrient-dense vegetables are not optional during a fat loss journey. They are the foundation on which everything else is built, and yet most people treat them as an afterthought, a side dish, something to feel virtuous about, rather than the central pillar of their nutrition that they truly are. Here is why vegetables are so critical during fat loss. First, they are extraordinarily low in calories, but extraordinarily high in volume. A massive bowl of spinach, broccoli, and mixed greens contains fewer calories than a single slice of bread, but it fills your stomach, stretches your gastric walls, and triggers the fullness hormones that signal your brain to stop eating. You physically cannot overeat vegetables in a way that causes fat gain. Second, the fiber in vegetables feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, and your gut microbiome directly influences your metabolism, your inflammation levels, your hormone balance, and your ability to lose fat. A healthy gut is a fat-burning gut. Third, vegetables provide the micronutrients, the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that your body needs to carry out every fat-burning metabolic process efficiently. Without them, your metabolism slows down. With them, it runs like a well-maintained engine. The vegetables I recommend most specifically for fat loss: spinach and kale for their iron and chlorophyll content, broccoli and cauliflower for their fiber and compounds that support healthy estrogen metabolism, cucumber and celery for hydration and their almost zero calorie density, bell peppers for their vitamin C, which supports cortisol regulation and adrenal health, and bitter vegetables like arugula and dandelion greens, which stimulate bile production and support liver function. And your liver is your primary fat processing organ. If your liver is sluggish, fat loss slows dramatically. Bitter greens wake it up. How to add more vegetables without dreading every meal: roast them with olive oil and garlic until they are caramelized and sweet. Add them to eggs in the morning. Blend a large handful of spinach into a smoothie. You will not taste it, but your body will feel it. Make a simple vegetable soup on Sunday and eat it throughout the week. The goal is 2 to 3 cups of vegetables every single day. Start with 1 and build. Now let me ask you something personally. Before we go any further, are you currently doing any form of daily movement? Any at all? Drop your answer in the comments right now. because the next thing I'm going to share is the fat-burning tool that most people completely underestimate, the one that requires zero gym membership, zero equipment, and zero prior fitness experience. Walking. A brisk 30-minute walk burns between 150 and 200 calories. That number sounds modest until you understand what's happening hormonally. Walking at a moderate pace keeps your heart rate in the fat-burning zone, a zone where your body preferentially uses stored fat as fuel rather than glucose. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that drives belly fat storage. It improves insulin sensitivity. It supports cardiovascular health. And unlike high-intensity exercise, it does not spike your appetite afterward, which means you are not compensating by eating more. Now combine walking with fasted cardio, and you unlock something even more powerful. Fasted cardio simply means performing your cardio exercise before your first meal, in a fasted state, ideally in the morning after your overnight fast. When you exercise in a fasted state, your glycogen stores, the sugar stored in your liver and muscles, are already partially depleted from the overnight fast. Your body has less available glucose to use as fuel, so it turns to stored body fat more quickly and more aggressively. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that fasted cardio burns up to 20% more fat compared to the same exercise performed after eating. 20% more fat from the same walk, simply by doing it before breakfast. Start with 20 minutes of brisk walking in a fasted state every morning. Build to 30, then 45. This single habit, done consistently, will produce visible changes in your body composition within 4 to 6 weeks. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Now here is something I need to address because it is one of the most distressing side effects of rapid fat loss that almost nobody warns patients about ahead of time. And finding out after it has already started is frightening. Hair loss during a fat loss journey. This is real, it is common, and it is almost entirely preventable when you know what to do. When your body enters a significant calorie deficit, it makes decisions about where to send limited nutrients. Hair follicles are not considered vital organs, so your body quietly reduces the nutrient supply to your follicles and redirects resources to your heart, your brain, your liver. The organs it considers essential for immediate survival. The result is a process called telogen, effluvium, where hair follicles enter a resting and shedding phase. You may notice more hair in your brush, in the shower drain, on your pillow. This typically begins 6 to 12 weeks into aggressive dieting. The two supplements that are most critical for preventing this, and I recommend both of these to every patient beginning a structured fat loss program, are biotin and vitamin D3. Biotin, also known as vitamin B7, is essential for the production of keratin, the structural protein that makes up your hair, skin, and nails. During a calorie deficit, biotin levels can drop significantly, directly compromising hair follicle function. The research-supported dose for hair protection during fat loss is between 2,500 and 5,000 micrograms of biotin daily. Take it with your first meal of the day for best absorption. Vitamin D3 is equally critical, and its role is less known but more powerful than most people realize. Vitamin D3 receptors are found in hair follicle cells, and studies have shown that vitamin D3 directly stimulates the creation of new hair follicles and prolongs the active growth phase of existing ones. Perhaps more importantly, vitamin D3 deficiency is directly linked to slowed metabolism, elevated cortisol, poor fat mobilization, and impaired thyroid function, all of which actively work against your fat loss efforts. A large portion of the population is deficient without knowing it. The recommended supplemental dose for most adults is 2,000 to 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, ideally taken with a meal that contains healthy fat, which dramatically improves absorption. Get your D3 levels checked at your next doctor's visit and ask for the specific number, not just whether you're normal. Beyond supplements, maintain adequate protein intake during fat loss, because protein provides the amino acids your follicles need to produce keratin. Do not drop your calories too aggressively. A moderate deficit of 300 to 500 calories below your maintenance level produces sustainable fat loss without triggering the kind of physiological stress response that accelerates hair shedding. Be patient with your body. It is doing remarkable things. Protect it as it works. Now I want to talk about building the body, not just losing the fat. Because fat loss without muscle development leaves you with a physique that is simply smaller. And I think you deserve more than smaller. I think you deserve stronger, more defined, more capable, and genuinely beautiful in the way that only comes from a body that has been trained and nourished with intention. Let's start with body weight. Training. Body weight training means using your own body as the resistance. No gym required, no equipment needed, no monthly membership. And it is extraordinarily effective, not just for burning calories during the workout, but for building lean muscle tissue that raises your resting metabolic rate permanently. Every pound of muscle you build burns an additional 6 to 10 calories per day at rest. That means the more lean muscle you carry, the more fat your body burns, even while you are sitting, sleeping, and going about your day. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It is your body's fat-burning engine. The foundational body weight movements, push-ups for your chest, shoulders, and triceps, squats for your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes, the largest muscle group in your body and therefore the most metabolically impactful, lunges for single leg strength and glute development, planks for deep core stability that protects your spine and improves posture, dips using a chair or sturdy surface for your triceps and chest, and hip thrusts for posterior chain development that creates the rounded, lifted appearance of the glutes that both men and women are working toward. A simple beginner structure, 3 days per week, non-consecutive. 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions of each movement, rest 60 seconds between sets. Total workout time, 20 to 30 minutes. That is it. That is enough to begin transforming your body composition in a measurable way within 6 to 8 weeks. The key is consistency, not perfection. 3 imperfect workouts per week done consistently for 3 months will produce more results than a perfect program done for 2 weeks and then abandoned. Now let me talk about the next level, heavy resistance training. And before I say another word, I want to speak directly to every woman watching this, because what I am about to tell you is something the fitness industry has been getting embarrassingly wrong for decades. Lifting heavy weights will not make you bulky. It will not make you masculine. It will not make you look like a bodybuilder. That outcome requires years of extremely specific training, a significant caloric surplus, and in many cases, pharmaceutical assistance that the vast majority of people would never pursue. What lifting heavy weights will do for a woman is this. It will create the lean, curved, defined, aesthetically stunning physique that most women describe when they say they want to look toned. Because toned is simply the combination of reduced body fat and developed muscle visible beneath it. You cannot tone a muscle. You can only build it and reduce the fat covering it. Heavy lifting does both. For men, heavy resistance training triggers the hormonal cascade that produces genuine physical transformation. Testosterone, growth hormone, and IGF-1, the primary anabolic hormones, are released in significantly greater quantities in response to heavy compound lifting than any other form of exercise. These hormones drive fat loss, muscle development, energy, libido, mood, cognitive function, and metabolic health simultaneously. Heavy lifting is not just a fitness strategy for men. It is a hormonal optimization strategy. The foundational heavy compound movements, the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the overhead press, and the barbell row. These 5 movements, performed consistently with progressive overload, build more muscle and burn more fat than any other exercise combination in existence. Progressive overload simply means that you gradually and consistently increase the weight, the repetitions, or the difficulty of your training over time. Your muscles grow in response to a challenge that exceeds what they are currently accustomed to. If you lift the same weight forever, your muscles have no reason to grow. Increase the challenge consistently and gradually, and growth is inevitable. A beginner weekly structure for heavy training: train 3 to 4 days per week. Day 1, upper body push movements, bench press, overhead press, tricep work. Day 2, lower body squats, deadlifts, lunges with weight. Day 3, upper body pull movements, rows, pull-ups or assisted variations, bicep work. Day 4, full body or weak point focus. Rest between sets should be 90 seconds to 3 minutes for heavy compound movements because your central nervous system needs adequate recovery to recruit maximum muscle fiber on the next set. Combined with your intermittent fasting, your clean nutrition, your daily walking, and your vegetable-dense eating, this training structure will produce a physique that is not just lighter on the scale, but visibly stronger, more defined, more symmetrical, and more capable than anything a diet alone could ever create. This is where transformation truly lives. And now I want to bring everything together, because we have covered a tremendous amount today, and I want you to feel the full weight of what you now have in your hands. You now know that intermittent fasting is not about starving. It is about giving your body the hormonal conditions it needs to access stored fat. You know that apple cider vinegar is a simple and scientifically supported tool that suppresses appetite, stabilizes blood sugar, and enhances fat burning. You know that sugar is not just unhealthy. It is a biochemical trap that locks your fat stores shut and keeps you reaching for more. You know that cold drinks and fast food are engineered obstacles designed to override your body's natural signals. You know that vegetables are not a side dish. They are the engine of a fat-burning metabolism. You know that walking in a fasted state is one of the most accessible and effective fat-burning habits you can build starting tomorrow morning. You know how to protect your hair with biotin and vitamin D3 while your body is transforming. You know how to build lean, functional muscle with body weight training at home. And you know that heavy resistance training for both men and women is the ultimate tool for building not just a leaner body, but a stronger, more beautiful, more capable version of yourself than you may have ever believed was possible. This is not information you stumble across easily. And I don't want you to keep it to yourself. Right now, think of one person in your life, a friend, a spouse, a sibling, a parent who has been struggling with their weight, who has tried and failed, who deserves these answers as much as you did when you clicked on this video. Share this with them today, not tomorrow, today, because the information that changes your life should never sit on a shelf. If this video added value to your life, hit the like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps this channel reach more people who need exactly what you just watched. And leave a comment below telling me one thing. Which step are you starting with first? Is it the fasting window, the morning walk, cutting the sugar, the apple cider vinegar? Tell me. I rate every single comment, and I want to know where your journey begins. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because every week I bring you exactly this kind of conversation. The deep, honest, practical health information that most people never get access to unless they are sitting in a doctor's office. And even then, most doctors don't have time for this level of detail. This channel exists because you deserve better than a 15-minute appointment and a prescription. You deserve the full picture. Your body is not broken. It has never been broken. It has simply been waiting for the right information, the right strategy, and someone who believes in what it is capable of. I believe that. Now it's time for you to believe it too.